Well, today I'm going to do a little cutting of some wood. We've got a family get together next weekend and I don't have enough wood to do a bonfire. And so we're going to do a family get together, have a bonfire, do some pumpkin carving with the kids, and we're going to do a hayride. So got to get prepared this weekend for it. I really should have cut up some wood last week to make it a little easier to burn, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it down today, let it sit for a week, and I've got enough dry that it should burn okay come next weekend. And it won't be a real big fire anyways, but it'll also give me a chance to start clearing out some of the Bradford pears, which I despise, and some of those cherry trees, which I need to clear out. And so I'm gonna start trying to clear out some of the wooded area and make some silvo pasture. That way it's a little bit more usable. It's not overgrowth as bad as it is right now, and it'll give me a little bit more like actually open land that I can, have animals on over the next coming years. The only thing is I haven't used my saw in like 8-9 months, and that saw is probably at least 6-7 years old now. I've never cleaned the carburetor, I've never done any work on it, so hopefully it'll run okay. It did okay the last time, but it was getting to a point where it wasn't wanting to idle real well. But we'll see. I'm gonna get that thing started up and see how it does, and we'll go from there. I actually bought this saw a couple years ago because growing up my dad had a refurbished Poland. I think it was a Poland that he had for years and years, and that thing was bulletproof. And so I bought this one because I needed a chainsaw and I didn't have one, and I needed it for my first house. And this thing's been great. It's been pretty much bulletproof. I've put, golly, I don't know, quite a few different chains on it over the years. But it's nothing fancy. It's not a real big saw. It's just an 18-inch bar, smallish saw, but it's been fine for everything I've ever needed it. I've cut down some pretty large trees with it and cut down quite a bit of stuff that's actually fallen out, which is the main reason I bought it originally. So I had a Bradford pear, go figure, break and split off him in the backyard, and so I actually bought this that day, so I had to cut that tree up, and it's been a great saw. And like I said earlier, fingers crossed it starts up for me okay and does what it needs to do today. All right, the good news is I got it started up and it was idling okay. Not perfect, but it'll do. I'm probably gonna have to clean out that carburetor before too awful long. But one thing I noticed is actually just how loose that chain is. And while I don't claim to be an expert in any capacity, I do know that chain is too loose, and you don't want it super tight, but that right there is just a bit too loose. So I'm gonna actually do a little adjustment, and unfortunately I can't find the specific tool that is made for adjusting the chain, so I'm just going to use some nut drivers and a screwdriver, as long as I got the right size nut driver. Otherwise I'll just get a socket. But all you got to do is, at least on my saw, loosen these up a little bit. This screw down here on the front is actually what adjusts the bar in and out, and then you tighten everything back down. So I'm gonna see if I can't get that adjusted. But yep, what do we got here? 3/8. I'll be back. I gotta go get a bigger driver. What's up, Twinkle? You photobombing us, buddy? Yeah, you just coming to get some love, aren't you? Yeah, you just coming to get some love. All right. Well, it turns out it's a half. Well, unfortunately it's a little bit probably too tight for me, so I am gonna go get a socket, make it a little easier to get it off. Well, it got noisy all of a sudden and I wasn't exactly sure why, and I realized they're actually next door over here harvesting. I don't even know if you can see them through the trees here, but I was wondering when they were going to get around to doing that. All right, now that we got the ratchet, Got that loosened up. I'll clean this out a little bit. I probably haven't done a great job of keeping this thing clean, which is also not good. You know, I'll say it's really important to maintenance all your stuff, and I try to do a good job maintaining my equipment, but doing maintenance on my small stuff I've not necessarily been great about, so make sure I do a better job with that. Alright, I think that's much better. So I still got a little bit of play where I can pull up on it, but it's not flopping around and loose. Hey there, buddy. Alright, and then we'll tighten this stuff back down. Alright. There we go, that's it. Now we should be just about ready to go take down a few trees. Before I get started on anything, I actually want to be very intentional and make something very clear. I'm in no way an expert. This is not intended to be an instructional video of any kind. I, like everybody else, can be prone to making mistakes. I'm not an expert in the use of chainsaws or felling trees or anything of that sort. So please, if you need help with something or you're trying to learn, like, consult with somebody that actually knows what they're doing. Be very careful. You know, make sure you use safety, use gloves, use glasses. They make helmets and ear protection and everything else. You know, I forget what you call them, but the clothing that basically will stop a chainsaw. You know, all that stuff. If you've got it, use it. Some of it, if you don't, you should get it. Just be careful. And again, you know, seek out an expert if you're looking for advice on how to do any of that. All right, I got everything ready to go. Got the chainsaw, got gloves, hearing protection, got my bar oil. She's full of gas. So I'm gonna take the lawnmower and my little trailer here down and go find me a couple trees to get started on, see if I can get enough lumber for next weekend. Alright, I figure I'd start with some of the smaller stuff, like cutting and clearing out some of these little saplings that are growing up underneath these trees. Debating on whether or not I'm going to keep this one at all. Probably cut out some of this stuff over in here, some of the smaller stuff. But I got to find a couple of bigger trees to cut down too. I'm probably going to go ahead and cut this guy down. And that growth coming off the bottom of the big tree down there, I'll probably get rid of that as well. And then again, I'm going to go down there and start clearing out some Bradford pears, but we'll see how far we get today. Oh, chain came off. So I'm gonna have to go get the tools. I didn't bring them with me. Probably should have, I know better. But I'm gonna go get the tools to put the chain back on it and finish cutting that one down. Just kind of eyeball check everything while I'm in here, make sure it all looks good. My cover is all gunked up. One little tidbit. It's a good idea to loosen that up before you put it back on there. That way once you get it on, it's easier to get it on that way. Then you can tighten it back up. All right, we made pretty good progress. I actually had some help from my brother, which was pretty awesome. He's having a little fun on the four-wheeler now. But I got this old junk pile and I've been still using it as a burn pile since that's what they had it as. And slowly cleaning up all the trash out of it. But it's a work in progress. I'll get up here hopefully later this week and put some more rock around it just to try to keep anybody from getting over here where they had some metal and stuff in it. But we got the tree that was here down. So that one's down and gone. I've stacked most of my wood over here. I took down a couple saplings out over here. I took down a couple of smaller trees that were right here in the way. We knocked out the stump that was, or the extra growth that was off the side of this tree. I cleared out a little bit of this edge here, knocked out a couple of these saplings that are coming up. And then lastly, I actually knocked out a couple of these stumps. So the last people that lived here cut down some trees in this area. But those trees, they left stumps that were like 2 and 3 foot tall. And well, unfortunately, we didn't see them the first time we bush hogged and we tore up the steering on my grandfather's tractor. Because it actually bent one of the steering arms. So we were still able to finish, but it was, well, we could only turn left after that. So actually, I think it was right. We could only turn right. And so we came through here and, you know, cut back some of these stumps. So hopefully I can clear the rest of this area out. And there'll be a lot of room here once I get some of this undergrowth knocked out. So we'll keep making progress as we go, but it's pretty exciting. Little at a time. We get some wood for the fire pits for the kids, and I get to clean up some of this as I go. And hopefully I'll get more areas that more resemble this right through here. So I brought the tractor and the bush hog through here once or twice and cut a few paths through some of the less dense areas. And over in here where it was extremely bushy, there's a lot of undergrowth and brush and stuff in there. So I was able to, you know, clean some of that out, but there's some trash I need to pick up. But yeah, overall, like, this will be a nice area once we get this all cleaned up. And now that it's fall and going into winter, it'll hopefully thin out some, make it a little bit easier. But no, I expect it to be slow going. But either way, I think we got enough wood for the fire this weekend. Hopefully it'll dry out enough to be usable. Some of it was already kind of dead, but a lot of that, it's greenery, so I'm gonna have to pull some of those limbs that's got a lot of leaf on it out, so I don't want it throwing ash around the family. But I've got enough stacked lumber up near the house that I'll bring down later and stack over here, and hopefully I can get a good enough fire going that it'll dry out the wet stuff while it's burning and give us plenty of wood for the weekend. Like I said, we just need about 2 hours or so. But all right, well, with that, I'm gonna wrap it up. Have a good rest of your evening.